Is online dictatorship already in Britain? Hours ago, Starmer announced all social media will be under a total ban for people under 16. Almost instantly, the opposition accused him of lying and building a totalitarian state.
Today is a big moment for our country, because today I can announce that the government will ban access to social media for all children under the age of 16.
Live on air, Britain became the first European country to ban social media. In just 40 minutes, Nigel Farage attacked. The elites are hiding behind children to implement total online control. Now, Starmer is accused of manipulation to spy on UK citizens. Furthermore, nearly 20 million immediately spoke out against Starmer's actions. Then, footage emerged.
Well, if it was to protect children, why on earth would an elite police force be set up to monitor what people say online? Why on earth are we seeing the extent to which online material has been censored? I mean, this is the beginning of state censorship. It is very worrying and very frightening.
In a clip that gained 9.5 million views, Farage warned, state censorship is already in Britain. Starmer will go further. Judge for yourself, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter are now blocked for over 13 million of the country's population. And now the worst part. To implement the new law, Starmer will have to introduce internet access by passport. And here, Elon Musk chimed in. Now the UK authorities will have full control over online comments. This means that you face a sentence of up to 3 years for 2 radical comments on the internet.
It's not an easy thing to do, I'll be honest about that. We haven't rushed into it, we've looked carefully at the evidence. And as a parent, as much as a Prime Minister, I just can't let that go on anymore. Because our children deserve better.
Our children deserve better. Starmer continues to cite the alleged protection of children, but it is reported that 5 hours ago, in the US, this was perceived as a lie merely to introduce further online blocks. A number of officials from Trump's party used terms like online tyranny and state censorship in Britain, and in reality, we see up to 12,000 arrests for online posts in Britain. This is exactly why Starmer is now being equated to Kim Jong-un. And now, just look at this.
I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
You won't be able to work if you don't have a digital ID. This phrase became devastating for the British PM's career because right now, 72% are already against Starmer's leadership. Opposition leader Farage links the digital ID as a tool for the thought police in the UK. Now you have to show passports for comments on Twitter. In practice, this means that if you see a minority member committing a machete attack on the streets of Britain, you cannot post a reaction that is too harsh. Because under Starmer, you will face 3 to 4 years of real prison time. Never in history has this country faced such harsh restrictions. And the worst part is that this is only the beginning. Residents from London to Belfast note that the very dystopia of Orwell's 1984 has already arrived today in Britain. Keir Starmer insists that disconnecting British children from YouTube is fundamentally for their own happiness. Broadcasting to millions, the Prime Minister cheerfully suggests how wonderful it will be for teenagers to play outside again. Behind this utopian rhetoric, the opposition is frantically warning of an unprecedented 310% surge in violent crimes against minors across residential neighbourhoods. Nigel Farage immediately countered the narrative by revealing terrifying statistics. Over 250,000 sexual assaults are now recorded annually throughout the UK. Statistically, a new attack occurs roughly every 4 minutes, endangering citizens of absolutely every age group, including that exact teenagers. The security crisis has escalated to such a breaking point that local schools are quietly advising parents against letting their children walk outside after 5 p.m. The harsh reality is that London's grooming gangs are currently reaching historic peaks in child exploitation. A 15-year-old girl who previously spent her evenings watching makeup tutorials is now, thanks to this legislation, pushed into the highly dangerous streets around. Meanwhile, a 14-year-old boy, stripped of his ability to stream local football highlights, faces the very real risk of encountering machete-wielding street mobs. Experts point out the staggering hypocrisy of a government terrified of Twitter algorithms but completely blind to actual knife crime. Leaked documents from Whitehall suggest the cabinet knows perfectly well that physical streets are currently undefended. Consequently, the social media ban is being widely interpreted as a desperate smokescreen to hide the collapse of law and order. Instead of funding more frontline police officers, Starmer is allegedly pouring £250 million into expanding digital surveillance units. These newly empowered bureaucrats will act as an elite internet police force, aggressively monitoring domestic web traffic. Public outrage multiplied when it became clear that this enforcement requires the mandatory rollout of a national digital ID system. Silicon Valley insiders are already whispering that major tech platforms will be legally forced to scan British passports just to grant access to basic forums. Suddenly, the sacred democratic right to online anonymity is being completely dismantled under the guise of child welfare. Farage did not mince his words, calling this the most aggressive power grab in modern British parliamentary history. Civil liberties watchdogs are echoing this sentiment, labelling the initiative a backdoor entry into a dystopian social credit system. According to leaked projections, over 11,000 citizens could face aggressive police interrogations this year simply for posting dissenting political views. Even more shocking is the technological incompetence driving this entire authoritarian fantasy. Industry analysts estimate that at least 65% of British teens already possess the digital literacy required to install encrypted VPN networks. Bypassing Starmer's draconian firewalls will essentially become a national pastime for tech-savvy youths. To prevent this inevitable humiliation, the administration might soon attempt to criminalize the use of virtual private networks altogether. Such a desperate escalation would officially place the United Kingdom in the same internet censorship category as North Korea and China. Elon Musk publicly ridiculed the Prime Minister's strategy, warning that global tech investors are watching this authoritarian descent with profound horror. Financial markets reacted swiftly, with venture capital firms already preparing to shift their European headquarters out of London. Threatening multi-billion-pound fines against platforms like Google and Twitter is seen by Wall Street as an act of pure geopolitical arrogance. No serious technology corporation will willingly absorb the astronomical costs of verifying the biometric data of every single British user. Therefore, the threat of a complete corporate exodus from the UK digital market is no longer just a conspiracy theory. Ordinary families are beginning to realize that the state is forcibly stripping away their parental rights and autonomy. Handing the responsibility of raising children over to a massive bureaucratic machine is a classic hallmark of the ultimate nanny state. Conservative MPs are furious, demanding to know why the government cannot simply arrest real criminals instead of heavily policing tweets. As the approval ratings for the current administration plummet past 68% disapproval, panic is reportedly spreading through Downing Street. Farage says about of a potential vote of no confidence are currently circulating among rebellious backbenchers who fear total electoral annihilation. Nigel Farage relentlessly argues that these draconian restrictions will exclusively fuel the mass adoption of digital workarounds among vulnerable minors. It is widely estimated that well over half of British teenagers already possess the technical knowledge required to effortlessly bypass Starmer's incoming legislation. Consequently, an unprecedented and terrifying risk has emerged that curious kids will accidentally stumble into the unregulated depths of the dark web. Places that were previously completely unknown to ordinary schoolchildren are now becoming their primary underground communication hubs. Thus, the Prime Minister's highly publicised strategy is fundamentally backfiring, actively amplifying the immediate danger to youth, both on neglected physical streets and in hidden digital shadows. Critics vehemently point out that pushing 12-year-olds into encrypted, untraceable forums represents a catastrophic failure of basic governmental safeguarding. Instead of protecting innocents, this new policy effectively hands a brand new generation directly over to sophisticated cybercriminals operating beyond the reach of British law. Furthermore, the absolute hypocrisy is currently being exposed on a global scale. While elite police units are suddenly being repurposed to aggressively monitor Twitter feeds, real-world community policing has effectively collapsed. Nigel Farage claims that gangs wielding machetes are reportedly roaming suburban neighborhoods with total impunity, while Ofcom bureaucrats obsess over regulating Instagram Reels. Downing Street apparently believes that controlling a child's screen time is vastly more important than guaranteeing their physical survival on the walk home from school. Such a bizarre prioritization has understandably sparked absolute fury among terrified parents stretching from Cornwall to the Scottish Highlands. Families are explicitly rejecting the absurd notion that creating a national internet firewall will somehow cure the deeply rooted societal decay infecting the country. Experts consistently warn that the mandatory implementation of digital ID required for this ban will permanently eradicate the sacred right to online anonymity. Any citizen wishing to leave a simple comment on a news article will soon be forced to upload government-approved identification documents. This chilling reality confirms the darkest warnings issued by civil liberties advocates regarding the true nature of the current regime. Privacy is officially dead in the United Kingdom under the convenient guise of child protection. Hackers are undoubtedly already preparing to exploit the inevitable vulnerabilities within this rushed centralized government verification system. When that highly predictable, catastrophic data breach finally occurs, the personal details of millions of British families will be sold directly to hostile foreign entities. Yet Starmer's inner circle rigidly ignores these warnings, pushing forward with a mandate that clearly prioritizes political control over genuine safety. Everyday citizens, from Manchester to Glasgow, are experiencing a chilling effect on their daily communications. Knowing that every digital comment could be tied directly to a government-issued ID is terrifying the working-class electorate. Legal experts warn that the threshold for criminalizing online speech is being intentionally lowered to silence legitimate political opposition. If a citizen witnesses a violent attack by a protected demographic, expressing raw frustration online could now yield a severe prison sentence. This bizarre reality means that the person typing an angry message faces more jail time than the thug holding the weapon. Justice in Starmer's Britain has seemingly been inverted, weaponizing the legal system against the silent majority. Reform UK officials are capitalizing on this massive ideological misstep, mobilizing millions of furious voters across the country. Viral TikTok videos dissecting the government's hypocrisy are hitting view counts well into the tens of millions before algorithms can suppress them. One prominent former intelligence officer went viral overnight by comparing Starmer's digital agenda to the worst surveillance tactics of the Cold War.